Hi everyone, welcome back to another For Those Code video. This channel is where we discuss and learn new skills around the topics of design and development. If you want to grow your skills and learn new things that's coming up, please like, share, and please do subscribe for more. In this video, we'll be learning on how we can create a simple quiz application built entirely with React. Let's take a look at what we'll be building. Alright, this is the application that we'll be coding together. Here we'll cover some basic concepts of React and we'll make the use of modern tech stacks to build this application. We'll be obviously using React, and we will also be using Vite, a modern front-end build tool, a kind of like Webpack but obviously different, and ChakraUI for our interface part of the application, and we'll be writing everything with Typescript. To be cautious about type safety. Taking a look at this small application that we'll be building together, we can see heading a warm welcome to our quiz application and some text that will be presented with the 10 questions and all the best. All right, we have a button here. Let's go ahead and click it, and as you can see here, we can see our progress where we are currently, which is 0 by 10, and the category of the quiz question and the question. Let's go with everything false except one. So I will tell you why. So let's click on false. Everything will be false. To our last question, which is 9 by 10, I'll click on false and I will change my mind and click on true. So next question would be like everything we clicked is false except the last one, right? So as you can see, our answer is true. We just switched between we clicked on false, but we later on changed our mind and clicked on true. So it's also taken into consideration. So yeah, everything is false, and we have scored 2 by 10, which is pretty much poor. So we should obviously improve our general knowledge skills, but we can obviously replace the quiz and practice our general knowledge of quiz. All right, so this is the application that we'll be building, and we'll be consuming the data from API endpoint, which is opendb.com. This is the place where we'll be getting our API endpoint. And if we go and visit the API, and you can see here trivia API and a number of questions. Currently we can stick with 10 because a lot of questions won't help enough, but for the category we can just go with any category and difficulty. Now we can choose hard and select type. All right, this is pretty much important. Currently we'll be not going with multiple choices of answers. Instead we'll be sticking with true and false. So let's go ahead and click true and false, and let's leave this encoding to default encoding. Generate API URL. Let's go ahead and click it. So this is the endpoint that we'll be using, so which is this one. Let's go ahead and grab it so that we can make the use of this inside of our application. All right, so let's go ahead and create our project from scratch. So I brought up iTerm here, and you can use any terminal that you want. So let's go to our desired directory. For now, I'll go to desktop. Inside documents, all files, and our directory here. And inside this directory, by the way, thanks to Fig for this auto completion, inside this directory we will initialize a blank React project with TypeScript using Vite. So for that we can use npm init Vite add latest React quiz game. Let's hit enter, and this will ask us like few questions. Let's stick with React, and we'll be using React with TypeScript. So let's hit enter. As you can see, it's super fast. So what I love about Vite is it's pretty much fast, about hot modal replacement and all the stuff. So let's go ahead and open this up inside of our browser. So I've opened the project inside of VS Code, and if we visit some of the files, then you can see some red squiggly lines. So yeah, if you create a project with Vite, then you need to install the dependencies with npmi. So let's install the dependencies that we need so that we can get the rid of red squiggly lines. And meanwhile, I'll just go ahead and like add some folder structures here. We will be like adding a simple folder structure for our React app. So let me go ahead and do it. So this is the folder structure that we'll be sticking with. And inside SRC, I've made a couple of folders: assets, components, constants, interface, pages, services, and styles. So and inside pages, I've created a home screen, which is basically arrow function which returns some JSX named home page. All right, so what I want to do is I want to also add an absolute import inside of our project here. So basically absolute import is really great, and you can see the difference right here without absolute import and with absolute import. So basically it just helps us to like write our imports really easily. All right, so for that one, I'll just go to tsconfig.json, and inside of our tsconfig.json, I'll go ahead and paste some of the paths that we need. These are like the folders that we created, and these are the paths that we have and we need to add this prefix inside of our imports. All right, I'll go ahead and save this one. And also we need to add a bit of change inside of our vite config.ts file, and inside of this file, I'll go ahead and like add this and to run this, we need this plugin which can be installed with npmi, and paste this plugin name. And after that, this should be resolved, and successfully we can like create that particular imports inside of our files. All right, so I guess we also need types node, so we'll go ahead and save it as a dev dependency. And after adding it, this should like go away as well. So yeah, so let's go ahead and do some absolute imports inside of our files here. So I want to like import this homepage inside of our app.tsx. So to import that, I will just go ahead and like clear this out, and let's go ahead and also change this to const app and use arrow function. So I will just add an arrow function there and export default app would be fine. So let's go ahead and remove this use state for now, and we don't need this. And also let's also get rid of app.css, and inside of our app.css, what I want to do is let's temporarily get rid of that, and let's go ahead and import our home page from, and yeah, @\backslash. And as you can see here, we have suggestions because we just added a few tweaks inside of our tsconfig.json file and also vite.config.ts file. So we can see like go to pages, and inside there we have like home screen, right? We created home screen and exported default home screen, so we can grab that home screen and like right away paste this home screen right in here. So let's delete everything here, and let's go ahead and like add a empty fragment, and let's add this, so we don't need this either. All right, this looks great, and let's go ahead and format it and save it, and let's spin up our project in the browser. So let's go ahead and npm start, and we haven't really added the start script inside of our package.json. Let's also go ahead and add start, because I like habituated with the start command. So let's go ahead and hit start and hit a refresh, and here we can see everything is working fine as expected except fab icon. Well, that fab icon we can change it inside of index.html, and the fab icon also working fine. All right, so create some API calls with inside of services. So let's create a new file called fetch questions.tsx inside of our services. Before we begin, I'll just go ahead and close it and npmi axios to make our HTTP requests. And inside our TS file of fetch questions, what we want to do is we want to import Axios that we recently installed from Axios, right? And let's create a constant and call it base URL, which is the base URL that we previously said. So we'll grab this URL, generate API URL, and we'll grab this. All right, so let's go ahead and grab this, but we will also have hard and select type would be true and false. So yeah, this would be our URL. So I'll just go ahead and add this up here. So inside of here, let's grab everything that we have here until here, and let's add it right here. So let's create a constant, and we want to export a constant and call get question list. It should be a sync function, and inside here it will take some props, not props but parameters to this. So amount would be a number and difficulty would be string, because we gonna like throw in this amount and difficulty as a parameter to this function that we create. So and also let's write our promise. This returns promise, and that can be written like any for now. So let's add our, there won't be a space there. Let's like add our try and catch block here. So inside of our try block, let's create a constant and call it response. So response would be like, let's wait for axios.get, and the get endpoint would be like this URL. I think we should use some backticks here, like this. So base URL, amount, difficulty would be difficulty, and type is boolean. Perfect. So yeah, so let's go ahead and add our catch block as well. So before adding catch block, let's go ahead and return the response. So response.json, we don't need a JSON parser for our response, so because Axios will handle it for us. So response.data.result. So because we have inside of this, if you check this inside of Postman, then we can find the data inside of like response.data.results. And we will also add catch block here. So inside of catch block, we will grab the error, and we will add our throw new error, and that would be the name of the error. So currently I'll just use backticks and throw right here, which will like print out what error that we have. All right. So this looks decent. So let's format a bit and let's hit save. And now what we want to do is we want to go to inside of our components and add some components here. So I'll create a folder and call a button, and inside that button I'll create one file and call index.ts, and we'll create our button here. So inside of our components, I created question card. So inside of our question card, we will create our first component. Let's import some useful stuff from Chakra. So we really haven't like installed Chakra. So I'll go ahead and go to the Chakra doc and see what are the steps needed to get started with Chakra. Let's go ahead and add these stuff right in here. So I'll grab that and paste it right in here so that we can make the use of ChakraUI inside of our app. Meanwhile, I'll go through the dependencies that we need. So this should be it. So we'll come to this component later on. For now, we'll go to main.tsx, and inside here, what we want to do is we want to grab this ChakraUI component. So we will import Chakra Provider and wrap our application with Chakra Provider. So let's go ahead and add a pair of Chakra Provider here. That will be fine. Let's go ahead and save it. So now I guess we can import our buttons inside of our question card. So let's go ahead and add a box from Chakra and from every ChakraUI React. And we'll also import a button that's needed. For now, let's create a constant and call question card, which would be a React functional component, which will take in some. We also need to pass down the type needed for this component right here. So let's go ahead and build the types. So for that, we have interface, and let's go ahead and create a new file and call it question card dot interface.ts, and inside of our, I think the name is mistaken, so question card interface.ts. So inside here, I want to grab in the data types that we have, which is the questions, which is a string, category, string, total question is optional. So and it's a number, and question number is also a number, and callback a function. So these are the things that it will be like. We will grab the prop. So we also need to import this from, and let's add index here. So we really haven't made the use of index. So inside of our interface, let's create index.tsx file, and inside of our tsx file, we will import this question card props and export, kind of like import everything inside of our index.tsx and export it from here, so that we can grab our question card props with just interface/index. That will grab this, and that will grab this stuff. So let's pass down our question card props here, and we need to like access those props inside of our component. So those props are questions. So if you take a look at this particular thing, which is the interface that we defined earlier, which is questions, category, total questions, question number, and callback function. So let's go ahead and add those here. Callback, and we will add category and total questions, and lastly a question number. So that'll be fine. So let's also make the use of our error function, and inside of our error function we will return some JSX. Let's go ahead and add our box that we imported, and the box would like be a background of white and width of 100%. And inside this box we will add another box, where we will add our progress, and that progress would be question number. We will track our question number and the total questions inside here, which we'll be receiving through props later on. And inside this box we will also add a margin bottom. So behind the scene, Chakra uses emotion, so these all are possible with emotion. So which is basically CSS and JS library that you can also like check out. From font size can be of medium, and like font width can be bold. And let's also add some uppercase to this. Transform would be uppercase. So we should capitalize this as this, and text transform uppercase. So we don't really have that braces there, but we can add uppercase there. So everything looks fine. Let's go ahead and add our another box where we'll be adding category there. So category, which we will also receive through props. So this should be callback. Actually, thanks Typescript, because there was a typo issue there. So after like adding our category, let's also add some headings. So heading. So we really haven't imported heading from Chakra. So we'll add heading there. Inside of our heading, we will grab in box again, and inside that box we will add questions, which will be receiving through props. After that, we will finally use some flexbox. All right, so let's add a flex there, and inside that flex we will make the use of box, and inside that box we will add some buttons here. So we really haven't made the use of button component, so also we need to import the flex, and let's go ahead and create a button component. Let's go ahead and save it and close it. Question card will interface is also fine for now, and for our button component we will go to component and create a new folder and call it button, and inside that let's create index.tsx file, and that TSS file will be like importing a button from Chakra. It's not Material UI but Chakra Chakra React, and we will obviously also need to import some props that's like button props from interface index. That's correct, but we really haven't made this interface index button prop. So let's go ahead and also create a new file for it, which should be button.interface.tsx or just ts, and I'll grab in some props that the button will have, and these are the types of props: value, on-click handler, which is function, color scheme, variant, class name, disabled, and width. So if you take a look at the button component in Chakra, and you should be like, we have the color scheme, variant, and all the stuff which we can pass in as a prop to this button component. So we are sticking with just a single button overall in the application. So for that we are creating this. So let's go ahead and hit save, and these are optional props that we have, which is class name, disabled, width. That's why we have a question mark here. Let's go ahead and save it. We have the button prop here. We have the button prop, but we haven't really made the use of button prop there. So let's create a constant and call app button, which is our React functional component. So react.fc, and this would take in this button prop type, and we have to destructure the props that passed in. So I will grab in all the prop that we just created here and pass in right in here. So these are the prop that it will receive, and not okay. So let's also return some JSX here. Let's grab a button and I'll paste in here, and for a button props, let's go ahead and export this and export default app button, and we will format this a bit. So for our button props, I wonder why this is showing an error. Module interface has no export member. All right, so inside of our interface we have this index.tsx. We really haven't added button here. We just have a question card prop. So we can go to button prop and paste a button prop here, like add a button dot interface. We can hit save, and right here we don't have any errors. So yeah, that's what Typescript helped us with. Great. So our button looks fine, so let's close it, and we can import a button inside of our question card now. So we'll just add a button right in here. So let's grab this app button, and like inside of our box there, we will add in the button. So let's add in this. So this button, app button, can be closed here, and we don't need it here. So inside here, we need to pass in some props that it needs to receive, right? So we can add color scheme, which can be purple for now, and let's add a variant, which can be outline. So these are all the prop that we have here, like referring to ChakraUI documentation. And variant and value can be false. I think the value should be in quotation. Yeah. So, and width, which is, I guess, optional not parameter, but optional prop that we need to pass in. So looks like all the props haven't been passed in. So let's see what's missing. Yeah, so we need to add an on click. So this will trigger callback. All right, this looks fine, and we need to export our default question card. Let's go ahead and format it. All right, let's go ahead and save it. Meanwhile, I'll just add a minor like stylings with for this ChakraUI imports. Let's now move into our home screen page inside of Pages. And inside here, firstly, I want to make the use of use state hook, also a use effect hook, use state and use effect from React. And also let's grab services that we created before, which is fetch questions. So import, and what the export is get question list. So we can grab get question list, and from add services / fetch questions. All right. So after that's done, let's also import our question card component, because we need that question card to render all the questions that we have and we get from the API. So question card from components / that would be index. And inside of our components, we haven't really created index file. So let's go ahead and create a new file and call it index.ts or tsx. And inside here, what I want to do is I want to export the buttons and the card. Let's export buttons from here. Let's also export our app question card and button from here. So let's go ahead and save it, and that would be fine. So now let's go ahead and change this to our, or we can right away make the use of questions and set questions. That would be questions, set questions, and we'll make the use of use state hook, and initially that would be an empty array. So let's also create our question question interface. So we really haven't really created the question interface. So inside of our interface, let's go ahead and create question list.interface.js. .ts. So this would be question list.interface.ts, and so the question list dot interface dot ts will have the type definition like this. That would be question, category, a callback function, total question, question number, and correct answer, and the type are written here. So we are exporting this interface as a question prop from here, and let's also add this as here, and we also need to add question list dot interface here, so that we can grab that question props. So we really haven't imported question props, so let's also import question props from interface / index, because we have everything like exported from there. So question prop is declared, the value is not read. All right, so let's go ahead and add that question prop inside of our use state here, inside of angle brackets. So that would be a type of question prop that this use state would receive, and it would receive an array of this question prop. So we will now we need to like get all the questions from use state hook. So I wonder why is this interface index. All right, so this looks fine. So now let's make the use of use effect hook so that we can call our API. So that would be an arrow function, and the arrow function will have no dependencies here. And let's create a constant and call it fetch questions, which would be an asynchronous function, and that function will create a callback and an arrow function, and like create a constant and call it question listing, which will await for get question listing, this function. And that function, if you go to this particular like inside of services, this function will receive these two parameters. So we called it prop before, but it's not prop, it's a parameter. You can hover it and like take this, it's a amount number, and difficulty is a parameter of string. So we'll pass these two parameters here to this question list. So to pass that parameters, we need to create some constants. So let's go to our constant that we created before, so that we can like add in some constants. So inside here, I will just add index.tsx, and inside index.tsx, I will paste in constant, which is total question, which is 10, and also I have defined enum, which we can use in our entire application. So it would be difficulty. And yeah, let's go ahead and save it for now. So now let's grab that two thing that we added inside of our constants. So we can grab it, right? Let's add it here. So that's difficulty, and total question has been exported from constant index, constants index .tsx, and we will add in that two values to total questions here. And also let's add in difficulty. So we can grab in difficulty dot let's keep it hard for now, difficulty dot hard, and that would be fine. So yeah, so ultimately let's like set question, set questions to question listing, and we really haven't invoked this function created, so that's why it's a little bit grayed out. So let's also invoke fetch questions right in here. This should be use effect. All right, so after setting the values inside this questions, we can like loop down the questions with the help of our question card. All right, so let's go ahead and add our question card right in here inside of our div here. we want to add in the question card. So question card, or it can be question card, and if you hover on it, and you can see that it should receive some prop. So the type question card props are missing. That sounds fine. So for that, we will add in questions that it will, this question card prop is defined in our interface. So if you go to like question card interface, then it should have these type of prop: questions, category, total questions, question number, and callback with these types. So let's add questions there. And for questions, we want to grab in just one question one at a time. So for that, we will also need to create another constant. And let's add a new constant that would be a question number. So and we can write question number and set question number. Initially that starts from 0. So we can grab the question number, which would be like incremented as we go along. So let's add questions and question number, which would be initially 0, and dot, and we can see here the property that we can access. So thanks a lot to Typescript. So this is what Typescript really offers. Great. So now let's also category. Let's add a category here. So category can be like question dot question numbers dot category. Yeah, that's right. And callback would be a function that triggers after we click on like a function that that's passed into a question card for now, and that's check answer. And we need to close that. Can find name check answer. So we really haven't created check answer function, so let's go ahead and create check answer. And let's just console log our check answer here so that this line disappears. And let's also add another prop that it should receive, which is total questions. That would be total questions, and also question number. That would be question number. All right, so this looks fine. So now let's go ahead and format this a bit, and let's go ahead and save it. So we made the use of use effect. We fetched the questions and we set these questions and set question number. Let's use this for now, and let's add it 1. And let's save it, and this should populate a list of question card with some data from the API. So let's hit npm start and see what's wrong in the browser. You can't read property of undefined reading question. All right, let's go ahead and fix this up. So to get the rid of this question cannot property of undefined, we can like make some couple of more state so that we can track when we can readily this component will be available for that particular data. So let's grab some useState hook. So let's use like start quiz and set start quiz, and initially that would be false. So use state and it would be false initially. And let's also grab our loading state. So we will also add in loading state and set loading state, and we will show the spinner when we are like loading and fetching some data. And we don't really need like use state for difficulty for now. Let's go ahead and like get like game over and set game over right here. So after this has been added, we would track the state of when the quiz starts, when we are fetching data, and when we are like when the game is over. So inside of like let's go ahead and wrap this card with some conditions. So with that condition, we will be adding loading if it's not loading, and if it's not game over, and we have start the quiz, then we would render this particular JSX, right? So we have made use of loading game over and start quiz, but we really haven't like added it inside of our JSX here. So let's go ahead and like add some other JSX here. I mean, let's go ahead and add when we have like when we are not starting quiz, right? When we are not starting quiz, this is for starting quiz, and when we are not starting quiz, so if it's not starting quiz, then we can get like start. Start. All right, so let's go and add, let's go ahead and import our button. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and import our button, as well as we'll create a spinner. So spinner, and inside the spinner we will create a new file, index.tsx. We will import spinner from our Chakra, from Chakra, and we will also import some prop interface definition. So we really haven't created. So let's go ahead and add some interface for our spinner. So SPI spinner dot interface dot ts, and let's go ahead and add spinner interface. So I will grab in some prop definition for our spinner here, and that's basically interface which receives thickness, speed, color, empty color, and size, and the type is defined here. So this would be the interface needed, and we also now are okay to stick with like importing spinner props. Let's go ahead and import spinner props, and also some index.css. We will add an index.css here, so that this index.css would be a scoped index.css. So let's go to our this file, and let's bring in some constant. I've created a constant, which is a React functional component, and which would like receive some prop with this prop definition. Has no exported member. So basically that spinner hasn't been added inside of our index here. So let's go ahead and add that index, that spinner inside of our index.ts here. So let's go ahead and save it, and now the red squiggly lines is gone, which is great. Now yeah, and we have like destructured the props that has been passed in here, and ultimately return the spinner with all the props that it will be having, and obviously export default app spinner. So this would be fine. So let's go ahead and save it, and let's close it. For our index.css for our spinner, I'll just grab in a few CSS styles that I've created. So this would like be okay, which would be just display a flex and align item center and justify content to center. All right, so now what we can do here is we can import our app spinner and our app button. So let's go ahead and add these two things here. Spinner. Okay, so looks like when we have app spinner, so initially the loading is set to true, so we can add set loading to false here to like not show up the loader, right? So when we want to show up the loader, when it's loading, we want to show a loader, and let's add the loader inside here. So and that loader is app spinner, which we imported right here, and that app spinner would definitely need some props. So we will just add app spinner, which would take in the prop defined here in the interface as well, and it would be speed, empty color, color, size, and thickness. So after this has been done, let's like work with start a quiz. To like add when we want to start a quiz, I will grab in like the things that we need, and like we will go through. So I will just paste in these things. That would be user answer. Oh, we really haven't created the user answer yet, so let's go ahead and grab the user answer state. And we also haven't created the type definition, interface for answer object as well. So I will create a new file and call it answers.interface.ts, and it would have the types of like interface object and its type that it would have, which would be question, answer, correct, and correct answer. And let's go ahead and save it. Let's add it inside of our TSX, and let's hit save. And if we now we can grab this from interface index. Let's hit a comma and place it right here. And about the app spinner, looks like box and heading also needs to be imported. So let's grab in a box heading, and later on we may need a divider. So I'll just add a divider for now. So start quiz game. So we really haven't created that as well. Like start quiz game, which should be an arrow function, and currently that would be like start quiz. Yeah, and we don't have any squiggly lines, but we need to take into consideration about the app spinner. All right, so now let's take a look at what we have written here. If the user answer dot length is strictly equal to the question number, so this question number is the state of the question number that's currently. So we will obviously have an increment of the question number later on. So if user answer dot length is strictly equal to the question number, and it's not game over, it's not loading, and it's not start quiz, then we will render this piece of JSX where we have like start quiz game button as well, which is this. And regarding loading, we will like throw out the spinner here with some props that's passed in, and also like if it's not loading, it's not game over, and we have started the quiz, then we will render this. All right, so it looks like we haven't really added a button inside of our card. So let's go ahead and add a button there. Let's move this one up, and I will just add in a button here. So that would be an app button, which would trigger the next question. This app button takes a callback function, and this next question, we haven't really created a function for that one. So let's create this here. Let's add console log here. Next question. So inside of disabled, we have a conditional operator. If like user answer dot length is strictly equal to the question number plus 1, and user number is not equal to question number, then we would like render an empty attribute. If not, then we will add a disabled to our disabled state. And others are just a prop that it should receive. That'll be fine. And ultimately, let's also add like a game over. So let's if it's not start, we will remove this one and add this piece of thing here. So if it's game over, then we would need the score as well. Module has no expert. App spinner from index components index, and let's hit save, and this error read squiggle lines should go away. And yeah, if it's a game over, then we will track our score here. So for our score, we really haven't like created a state for our score. So let's also add a score and set score. So so we'll definitely like set score when we click on the next button, which is this button right here, which is next question. So inside this particular function, we will have our increment of our score. So for now, we really haven't created that replay function as well. So also add replay quiz. And inside here, we will just console log and write replay right here. So everything looks fine. Let's go ahead and refresh. We can see the spinner if it's loading, and we can also see the start quiz is console logged here. So which is going as expected. All right. So now inside of our start quiz, let's add some logic inside here. So when we want to like start a quiz game, we want to just set state start quiz to true, so that we can render rest of the application that needs to. And this function should return nothing, so that's why it returns void. And let's go ahead and save it and refresh it, start quiz, and you can see here our state is updated, and we can like click on this and we can further go to check answer. All right, so let's go to check answer. So inside of our check answer, we need to add some logic inside of our check answer. Need to receive event as a parameter, which is a React form event and inside of angle brackets we can write HTML form element, because TypeScript wouldn't know that this is a form element. So that's why we need to add that. And also let's write void here, because this function won't really return anything. Sorry, oops, the bracket is missing and everything is fine. Yeah, so first of all, we want to like remove everything here. Let's add event prevent default, so that we won't be refreshing our browser. And let's add first if statement. If the game is over, then we won't really want to execute any code further than this. So let's add a constant, and let's we need to know that what's chosen answer is. So to chosen answer, that would be event dot current target dot not value but inner text. That's basically the true and false are the inner text. So and let's also create a constant and call it correct, and the correct is we have this correct stuff inside of our API. So that would be questions, and the current question number, and correct answer is what we have from our API. So if you take a look at this interface, which is a question list, then we can see correct answer right here. So basically we are grabbing this right in here, and if it's strictly equal to the chosen answer, which is this, then we need to like increment the score. So if correct, that's right, if correct, then we need to set score, and then it can take a previous score and we can add previous plus 1, and let's also add an if user answer dot length is not equal to question number, then we would know that users are clicking, we can just add a console log here, and more than one click. So, and we will come to this later on. So if user answer.length is not equal to the question number, so the question number is the total question number that we have. So we will write that logic later on. For now, we will just add answer const answer object code is equal to, we will add in the object that the answer object needs. That would be choose answer. This would be a choose answer, and this would be a choose answer. So yeah, so basically we have this answer object that we have, and set user answer. We want to like take the access of the previous, and we want to spread the previous answer and add up to this answer object. So this should be a spread operator, right? So which should be like taking the previous, spread it, and we want to update this piece of array with this new object that we have created right here. So this is basically it. If we want to check the answer, and let's go ahead and see this in the browser. Let's start the quiz. Let's click on true, and we can go move to the next, and it says next question, which is great. So now let's come to this point where we have added if statement right in here. If user answer.length is not equal to question number, this is a case where users click on true and again they change their mind and click on false, right? So we will come to this function in that particular case. So if we just have true, and we can see that more than one click is being made. If we refresh it, and if we start and we just click one time, that's not called. If we click again, then it's more than one click, right? So in that case, what we want to do is we want to like handle that particular use case scenario with this logic. So I've already written it, and I will definitely go through what's behind it. So if it's not correct, and if it's correct, if it's not correct, we want to deduct -1 from the total scores, and like we have the last index, and we will like remove the last index with the .splice method, and again update our object with the new the new object. I mean the removed object has been removed, and we update the object again. So that's actually the logic behind it. And let's go ahead and format this a bit. Let's also like work on the other remaining parts here. So regarding the next question, what we want to do is I will just grab in the function for our next question and we'll go through. For next question, we will obviously take in the event as a parameter, which we will be grabbing from react.form event, and it's a HTML form element, and this would return void. So prevent default, and the next question would be the current question number plus 1, and if total question is strictly equal to the next question, then we know that the game is over. And we will set the question number to next question if we will return it from here. So this would be fine. So for our next question, so regarding replay, regarding replay, what do we want to do is we will this also function returns void, which doesn't return anything. And we will set start quiz to false, set game over to false, set question number to 0 again, and set score to 0 again, and set user answer to an empty array. So if we hit on save, then we should be like okay with the all application. So let's go ahead and like start quiz. We'll just answer true, and next question false, next question, and this question is this state is also updated and everything is working as expected. So that be false, true, false, false, and we have 9 by 10. So last element would not be true, but it should be false, right? So next question, so last element is false. So everything looks fine as expected. Now a bit of styling is needed, so I will just fix it up with a bit of styles. I've also added index.css inside of home screen, so it would act as a scoped styles in a sense, so that I've imported just index inside of our home screen. And like if we hit save and take a look at the browser, then we should see everything looks pretty decent. Let's go ahead and like start a quiz, and let's hit true. And first of all, what I want to do is I want to go to constants, and I want to change this to like 5, so that we will just have like 5 questions to answer, right? So start quiz 0 by 5, everything is updated, true, 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 true. Last should be false, right? So it should be false. Next question, last is false. Actually we clicked between true and false here and there, and it's ultimately false, which is fine, and everything is true, 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 and true. So true, this is 1 score, which is true, true, 2 score, true, true, 3 score, true, true, and it's 3 by 5. So everything is working fine, and the logic is also working as expected. So guys, in this video we learned about how we can create a simple quiz application with React. I hope you learned something new from this. If you want to learn more around the topics of design and development, please like, share, and please also subscribe for more with a click down below. Thanks a lot guys. See you in the next one.